Welcome to Wealth Hustle 247 podcast, your trusted guide to financial literacy, business innovation, and entrepreneurial success. Learn how to grow your wealth, make informed decisions, and turn your ideas into profitable ventures.
Looking for financial peace? In this episode, we guide you on the path to financial serenity by mastering the art of passive income. Let's begin your journey to financial freedom.
Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling something I know a lot of you are interested in, and that's passive income.
It's definitely a hot topic.
It is, and I think for good reason. I mean, who wouldn't love to have their money working for them instead of the other way around?
Right, exactly. And that's what really drew me to the guide we're diving into today. It's all about building those passive income streams to the point where they cover all your living expenses.
Okay, so no more needing that 9-to-5 grind.
Yeah.
Just pure financial freedom. I'm already sold.
Well, hold on. It's not quite as simple as snapping your fingers.
Right, of course not. There's no such thing as a get-rich-quick scheme, and I'm sure this guide emphasizes that. But I'm curious, before we get into the specifics, why is passive income so crucial for achieving this financial freedom we're all craving?
Well, the guide lays out 4 main benefits, and they're pretty powerful. We're talking escaping the 9-to-5, gaining time freedom, achieving financial security, and strategically building wealth.
Okay, that's quite a list, but let's break those down a bit. What does escaping the 9-to-5 really look like? Is it just about quitting our jobs and living on a beach?
Not necessarily. I mean, that might be the dream for some, but it's more about having the freedom to choose how you spend your time and energy. Not being tied to a desk for 8 hours a day. Maybe it's about pursuing a passion project or spending more time with family.
I like that it's about reclaiming your time and aligning it with what truly matters to you.
Yeah.
And that brings us to time freedom.
Exactly. Time freedom is about having the flexibility to design your days, to set your own schedule, and to prioritize the things that bring you joy and fulfillment. It's about breaking free from the constraints of a traditional work schedule and living life on your own terms.
It's about being the architect of your own life. I love it.
It's empowering, isn't it? And then there's the financial security piece. The guide uses this great analogy of a 3-legged stool.
Okay, I'm listening.
Your job, your savings, and your passive income streams, those are the 3 legs. If one leg weakens, the others provide stability. So let's say you lose your job. You've still got those other 2 legs, your savings, and your passive income to help you weather the storm.
That's a really powerful image, having that safety net, that financial cushion to fall back on.
Right.
Okay, so we've got freedom, security. What about the wealth building aspect of passive income? That's what really gets me excited.
Me too. This is where the magic of compounding really comes into play. That idea of reinvesting your earnings and watching them grow exponentially over time. The guide actually calls compounding the 8th wonder of the world.
It's like a snowball effect, right?
Ah.
The more you invest, the faster it grows, and the more passive income you generate.
Exactly. It's about putting your money to work for you so it can generate more money, which you can then reinvest to generate even more money. It's a beautiful cycle.
Okay, I'm officially hooked. But let's get down to brass tacks here.
Right.
The guide lays out 8 steps to achieving this financial freedom nirvana, right?
That's right. 8 clear, actionable steps.
What's step 1?
Well, before you can even think about building passive income streams, you need to know what your target is. So step 1 is all about defining your adequate living expenses.
So figuring out how much money you actually need to cover your basic needs and live comfortably.
Exactly. It's about creating a realistic budget that takes into account all your essential expenses, plus a little bit of fun money, of course. This number becomes your financial benchmark, your target for passive income generation.
Okay, so we've got our target. What's next?
Step 2 is all about adopting the right mindset. Building passive income takes patience, discipline, and a willingness to learn and adapt. There's no magic button here, no overnight success stories. It's about making smart choices consistently over time.
A marathon, not a sprint. Yeah.
Exactly. And a lot of people stumble at this stage because they lack the patience or the perseverance. But this guide really emphasizes the importance of cultivating a growth mindset, of embracing the journey and understanding that success is a process, not an event.
I love that. It's about focusing on the journey, not just the destination. But before we dive into actually building these passive income streams, the guide throws us a bit of a curveball. Step 3 is all about focusing on our active income first.
Yeah, this is where a lot of people get confused.
I can see why. Why would we focus on earning more from our jobs when the goal is to eventually replace that income with passive income?
It's all about maximizing your current earning potential so you have more resources to invest in those passive income streams. Think of it this way. Your active income is the seed capital for your passive income garden. The more you can earn and save now, the faster you can grow those passive income streams.
So it's about using our current earning power to fuel our future financial freedom. It's like giving ourselves a head start in the passive income race. What are some ways we can maximize our active income?
There are tons of options, and the guide gets pretty specific here. It depends on your skills, your interests, and your current situation. Maybe it's about negotiating a raise, taking on a side hustle, or even upskilling to qualify for a higher paying role. It could even be about starting a small business on the side.
So it's about being proactive, taking ownership of our earning potential, and finding creative ways to boost our income. We don't have to be stuck in a rut.
Right. We have more control than we often realize. And the guide provides a ton of practical tips and strategies for maximizing your earning potential, no matter what your starting point is.
I love that. Okay, so we've defined our living expenses, cultivated the right mindset, and we're working on boosting our active income. Now it's time for the main course, step 4, identifying and building those passive income streams. What options does the guide present? What's on the menu?
It's a pretty extensive menu. It covers everything from the classics like real estate and dividend stocks to more contemporary options like digital products and online businesses. And it even touches on some more niche strategies like peer-to-peer lending and royalties.
Wow, that's quite a spread. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but in a good way.
Don't worry, we're going to break down each of these options in detail, exploring the pros, cons, and suitability of each for different individuals.
Okay, good. Because I need a little hand-holding when it comes to navigating this world of passive income.
You got it. We'll tackle those in the next part.
Awesome. I can't wait. Welcome back to the Deep Dive, everyone. Last time we covered a lot of ground, setting the stage for our passive income journey.
We talked about defining expenses, cultivating the right mindset, and even maximizing active income. It's all connected.
Right, like laying the foundation before we build the passive income empire.
Exactly. But now let's have some fun. Let's dive deeper into those specific income streams.
Yes. Real estate, dividend stocks, digital products. Oh my. We even touched on business automation, peer-to-peer lending, and royalties. I'm ready to get into the nitty-gritty.
Me too. Where should we start? What's piquing your interest the most?
Well, I've always been fascinated by the idea of building an online business, creating digital products that can generate income while I sleep.
Ah, the allure of digital products, I get it. It's a world of incredible potential, that's for sure. The guide actually dedicates a whole chapter to this, and it's packed with valuable insights.
Perfect. I'm ready to soak it all up. But I'll be honest, the whole digital product landscape can feel a bit overwhelming. Where do you even begin? What's the first step?
Well, the guide emphasizes the importance of starting with your unique skills and passions. What are you good at? What do you enjoy doing? What knowledge or expertise could you share with the world?
So it's about finding that intersection between what you love, what you're good at, and what people are willing to pay for.
Exactly. It's not just about creating any old digital product. It's about creating something that genuinely solves a problem or fulfills a need for your target audience. And once you've identified that sweet spot, the next step is to validate your idea.
Validate. What does that mean exactly?
It means making sure there's actually a demand for what you're planning to create.
Yeah.
You don't want to spend months creating a product that no one wants to buy.
That would be heartbreaking. So how do we validate our ideas? How do we know if people are actually interested?
The guide recommends doing some market research, talking to potential customers, and even creating a minimum viable product, or MVP, to test the waters.
An MVP, what's that?
It's basically a stripped-down version of your product, something you can create quickly and cheaply to get feedback from early adopters. It could be a beta version of your software, a sample chapter of your ebook, or even just a landing page outlining your product idea.
I see. So it's about getting feedback early on before investing too much time and money.
Exactly. It's about mitigating risk and making sure you're on the right track. And once you've validated your idea and you're confident there's a market for it, then you can move on to the actual creation process.
Okay, that makes sense. But creating a digital product, that sounds like a daunting task in itself.
It can be, but the guide breaks it down into manageable steps, offering practical advice and tools along the way. It covers everything from outlining your content to choosing the right format, whether it's an ebook, a video course, a template, or even a software application.
Wow, there are so many options.
There are, and the best format really depends on your product idea and your target audience. The guide helps you navigate those decisions, providing insights into what works best for different types of products.
That's helpful. But let's be honest, creating a fantastic product is only half the battle. How do we actually get it in front of the right people? How do we make sure people know it exists?
That's where marketing comes in. And the guide dedicates a significant portion to this crucial aspect. It covers a range of strategies, from building an email list and engaging on social media to leveraging paid advertising and collaborating with influencers.
Okay, now it's starting to feel a little overwhelming again. There are so many marketing channels and strategies, it's hard to know where to focus our efforts.
Don't worry, the guide provides a roadmap for navigating the digital marketing landscape, helping you choose the right channels for your target audience and your budget. It also emphasizes the importance of testing and tracking your results so you can see what's working and what's not.
It's all about being data-driven and constantly optimizing your approach.
Exactly. It's not about blindly throwing money at advertising. It's about making smart, informed decisions based on real-time data.
So digital products are definitely a viable path to passive income, but they do require effort, strategy, and a willingness to learn and adapt.
That's true. It's not a passive endeavor in the sense that you just create a product and then sit back and watch the money roll in, but it can be incredibly rewarding, both financially and personally. It's about creating something valuable, sharing your knowledge with the world, and building a business that can generate income for years to come.
That's inspiring. Okay, digital products have definitely sparked my entrepreneurial spirit, but for those who might be looking for more passive approaches, maybe something that requires less hands-on involvement, what other options does the guide recommend?
Well, let's talk about dividend stocks. Remember, we briefly touched on those in the first part.
Oh yes, dividend stocks. I remember being intrigued but needing a bit more explanation. Tell me, what are the key benefits of dividend stocks as a passive income stream?
Well, one of the biggest benefits is that they can provide a steady stream of income without requiring a lot of active management. Once you've invested in a portfolio of dividend-paying stocks, you can essentially sit back and let those dividends roll in. It's like having a mini retirement fund that pays you regularly.
That's appealing. But I'll admit, I know very little about the stock market. How do I even choose the right dividend stocks? It seems like a risky endeavor.
It can be, but the guide provides a framework for evaluating dividend stocks and choosing companies that are financially healthy, have a history of paying consistent dividends, and are likely to continue growing and increasing those dividends over time.
So it's about doing your research, looking beyond just the dividend yield, and really understanding the company's fundamentals.
Exactly. And it's also about diversification, spreading your investments across multiple companies and industries to reduce risk.
That makes sense. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. But even with all that research and diversification, isn't there still a level of uncertainty and risk involved? The stock market can be unpredictable.
Of course, there's always risk involved with any investment. But the guide reminds us that long-term investing in solid companies with a track record of paying dividends can be a relatively safe and reliable way to generate passive income.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal of dividend stocks. But is there anything else we can do to minimize risk and maximize our chances of success?
The guide suggests a few strategies, including dollar-cost averaging and reinvesting those dividends back into the market to further accelerate growth.
Dollar cost averaging, what's that?
It's a simple but effective strategy where you invest a fixed amount of money in a particular stock or index fund at regular intervals, regardless of the price. This helps to smooth out the ups and downs of the market and reduce the risk of buying high and selling low.
I see. So it's about taking a disciplined approach and not letting emotions dictate our investment decisions.
Exactly. It's about being consistent and patient and letting the power of compounding work its magic over time.
Okay, dividend stocks are definitely climbing up my list of passive income favorites, but we can't forget about the granddaddy of them all, real estate.
Real estate. It's been a wealth-building vehicle for centuries, and it's still a popular choice for passive income seekers today.
But isn't real estate investing incredibly expensive and time-consuming? I mean, you have to find properties, deal with tenants, manage repairs. It all sounds like a full-time job in itself.
It can be, but the guide explores a range of real estate strategies, including options that are more passive and require less hands-on involvement.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Tell me more about these passive real estate strategies. What are our options?
Well, one option is to invest in REITs, or real estate investment trusts. These are companies that own and operate income-producing real estate, such as apartment buildings, shopping malls, or office complexes.
REITs.
Mm.
So instead of buying an entire apartment building myself, I could buy shares in a REIT that owns multiple properties.
Exactly. And the beauty of REITs is that they are required by law to distribute at least 90% of their taxable income to shareholders in the form of dividends.
Dividends again. So it's like getting a regular paycheck from those real estate holdings without having to deal with the headaches of property management.
Exactly. And because REITs are publicly traded, they are relatively liquid, meaning you can buy and sell shares easily.
That's a big plus. Liquidity is important, especially when you're dealing with investments.
Hmm.
But are REITs the only passive real estate option?
Not at all. The guide also explores other strategies, such as investing in real estate crowdfunding platforms or even purchasing shares in publicly traded real estate companies.
Crowdfunding for real estate. That sounds interesting. How does that work?
Essentially, you pool your money with other investors to purchase and manage properties. It's a way to get involved in larger real estate deals without having to come up with a huge down payment yourself.
So it's like democratizing real estate investing, making it accessible to a wider range of people.
Exactly. And because these platforms typically handle all the property management and tenant relations, it can be a very passive investment.
That's appealing. What about those publicly traded real estate companies?
These are companies that operate in the real estate industry. But, unlike REITs, they are not required to distribute a certain percentage of their profits as dividends. They might invest in a wider range of real estate assets, including land development or construction.
So it's a bit more diversified and potentially more growth-oriented, but maybe also a bit riskier.
That's a good way to put it. It's all about finding the right balance between risk and reward based on your individual investment goals and risk tolerance.
Okay, so real estate definitely offers a lot of options for passive income, from the hands-off approach of REITs to the more involved strategies of crowdfunding or investing in publicly traded companies.
It does. And the guide provides a wealth of information to help you navigate those options and choose the strategies that best align with your individual circumstances.
This is fantastic. I'm feeling so much more informed and empowered already. But there are a couple of strategies from our initial list that we haven't explored yet.
Right. We still need to talk about business automation and royalties. And then we can wrap up by bringing all these strategies together and creating a roadmap for actually implementing them in our lives.
That's what I'm most excited about. It's not enough to just understand the theory. We need to know how to put it into practice.
Absolutely. And that's exactly what we'll cover in the final part of our deep dive.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of passive income. From digital products to dividend stocks, real estate to peer-to-peer lending. It's amazing how many options there are.
It is. It's like a whole universe of possibilities opened up right in front of us.
Exactly. But now I'm thinking, okay, we've got all these tools in our toolbox, but how do we actually use them? How do we take all this knowledge and turn it into real-life financial freedom?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? And the guide doesn't leave us hanging. It offers a roadmap for transitioning from a life of active income to one where passive income takes center stage.
Okay, I'm ready for that roadmap. Where do we start?
Well, the first step, and this might sound familiar, is to go back to that number we calculated in part 1, our adequate living expenses.
Right, that magic number that represents our essential needs and a bit of fun, too.
Exactly. That becomes our target, the amount of passive income we need to generate to cover those expenses and essentially live comfortably without relying on a 9-to-5 job.
So it's like setting our financial finish line. Once we cross it, we've achieved a level of freedom where work becomes optional. We can choose to work because we want to, not because we have to.
Exactly. But the guide emphasizes that it's not just about reaching that finish line, it's about enjoying the journey. It's about celebrating those milestones along the way, acknowledging our progress, and savoring the small victories.
I love that. It's not just about the destination, it's about the journey. But with so many different paths to explore, how do we choose the right ones for us? How do we prioritize our efforts?
The guide encourages us to start by reflecting on our values, passions, and skills. What activities light us up? What are we naturally good at? What kind of impact do we want to make in the world? The answers to those questions will help guide us toward the passive income strategies that resonate most deeply.
So it's about aligning our financial goals with our personal values and interests.
Precisely. It's about finding those sweet spots where our passions, skills, and income-generating potential intersect.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But even when we've found those sweet spots, building passive income streams takes time, effort, and a whole lot of patience. How do we stay motivated when results don't appear overnight? How do we avoid getting discouraged?
That's a great question. The guide suggests a few things. First, Set realistic expectations. Building passive income is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about making consistent progress over time. Second, focus on the process, not just the outcome. Celebrate those small wins along the way. Each step forward is a victory. And third, find a supportive community. Connect with like-minded individuals who are on a similar path. Share your struggles, celebrate your successes, and learn from each other's experiences.
That's so important. Having a community of support can make all the difference. It's about knowing you're not alone on this journey.
Exactly. And remember, building passive income streams is not just about financial freedom. It's about designing a life that is aligned with your values, your passions, and your purpose. It's about creating a life where work becomes optional and where you have the time and resources to pursue the things that truly matter to you. So keep learning, keep growing, and keep taking action. The journey might be long, but the rewards are well worth it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a perfect note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into passive income. We hope you found it informative, inspiring, and empowering.
That's it for today's episode of Wealth Hustle 247. Be sure to follow, like, comment, and share with others. Keep pushing toward your goals, and we'll see you in the next episode.